It doesn't matter if you start by constructing the stems or if you start sewing the sails. The important part when you're building a boat is to start.
Having a place to build is important. Offering the stems, keelson, and floor timbers to the molds begins your build. Scarfing allows you to make longer planks, which are shaped to fit over the hull. There aren't many straight lines in a Caledonia Yawl hull. The garboard lies along the keel. Each succeeding plank has a different shape.
Progress can seem slow, but then there are those times when you see you are moving forward and have a moment that is gratifying.
Spiling is integral when shaping the planks when building from plans.
Shaping the centerboard slot is just one of the opportunities to wear flattering safety gear and to get sawdust in inappropriate places.
Once a plank fits on one side, a duplicate is made for the other. It should fit. Gains are planed in planks at the fore and aft stems.
Cleaning up excess epoxy squeeze out reduces sanding time later.
And there it is. The hull is planked. Time to sit down and take a long look at what you have accomplished so far.
Okay, that's long enough. We laminated the stems on the boat. And then we shaped them as they should be and filleted the planks to make them stronger and more watertight. Next step, glassing the bottom two planks to give it some abrasion resistance.
We protected the hull with a few coats of epoxy and graphite to the waterline. It's time for another change.
This is one of my favorite times when we're building a boat, is you come to the point where you start putting the straps in to turn the hull over. Suddenly, it looks like a boat.
Now begins interior work. Stiffen the gunnels by installing blocks and inner and outer gunnels. This allows you to secure items to the gunnel. We use most of our spring clamps and several of our bar clamps. As you know, you can never have enough clamps. And while the epoxy cures, you have a large warren of bunny ears. Adding breast hooks to the fore and aft stem stiffens the hull.
The centerboard trunk provides fore and aft strength to the hull. We glassed the interior of the trunk to provide added longevity. We bedded the logs in epoxy and screwed them into the keel. Glued lap construction doesn't require ribs. We did add supports for the seats and for the mast partners, both the mizzen and the main. We used hardy board, concrete board, with layer of fiberglass in between it on the outside for both the rudder and the centerboard. This provides you with a weighted board that is rot-free. We then coated them with epoxy and graphite.
More parts need construction, like rudder cheeks, floorboards, and mount the rudder on pennels and gudgeons.
Seats, Mast partners and centerboard tops are shaped and installed temporarily.
This fur board is destined to become the bird's mouth hollow main mast. These are the mizzen mast step and mast partner, and this is the main mast step.
This is the hole for the boomkin for the mizzenmast. Now that the hull is constructed, it's time to paint, then sand, then paint, then sand. That covers your primer coat, and then we began painting the interior, where we painted, sanded, sanded. Wish I'd have turned the hull on its side rather than leaning across.
Varnish time for mast and booms and seats and mast partners, and you sand and you varnish and you sand and you varnish.
And now a little green paint on the outside, and a little sanding, a little painting.
And you do more sanding and more varnishing and more sanding and more varnishing.
There is quite a bit of masking areas off when you're changing colors, and we're adding a little bit of red here to the hull, to the rudder, more to the hull, a little more sanding. Well, the painting's all done. It's the color it's going to be. The varnishing's all done. It's time to remove all the masking. And stick all the parts back in the hull. It's a boat.
And here's Kathleen on her trailer with her beautiful shear line and the masts up for the first time.
And the seats are all bolted in, and so are the mast partners. And this little doohickey sitting on the one seat is to hold the boomkin for the mizzen.
And here we share with you the mast partner arms and block.
There's one proud boat builder, and there's another one. And a proud son of a boat builder.
She got her bottom wet for the first time at Cedar Key. She's sitting at low tide here.
And here she is actually under sail. And after a long day sailing, she got to spend the night on the beach again. And the next day, out of that Iain Oughtred.
We decided we weren't fans of the push-pull tiller. We opted for the laminated tiller.
And just a few pictures of the boat actually out on the water, doing what it does best, sailing. Sometimes there's no wind. Sometimes you're in shallow water. Other times you're just moving along reefed. Sometimes you're out with friends. And now the next picture is 3 of our boats, a melon seed, a McGregor sailing canoe, trimaran conversion, and good night.